What's up, beautiful ladies and handsome men? I am not sure what's true or false in this story. I take gossip, tea, rumor, and scandal from yesteryear, from online, from word of mouth, from books, and I ball it up and I tell you guys a story. Now, let's get to it.
Do you like wine, but tired of choosing the wrong wines because you don't know no better? You sitting up there looking for a wine to eat with your steak and then messed around and bought a wine that tastes like birthday cake. Let Bright Cellars do the hard work for you. Bright Cellars is a monthly wine club that sends you wines that are curated to your taste palates. How they know what my taste buds like? They sitting up there looking at my internet search history? Child, ain't nobody investigating you. The way that they know what you like is that they give you a 7-question quiz to ask what type of food you like, what type of drink you like, what type of coffee you like, so they can match you to the correct wine that you will enjoy. Let me show you what they sent me this month.
First, I got me some palette knife. This is like a French red blend, and it's earthy and it's warm, and honey, it's just excellent for a dinner party. Then I got me some Avost, and this is a Chilean wine, honey, and this is like citrusy and tastes kind of lime-like. It's more like if you got your friends together and y'all kind of just drinking and playing games. Then I got me some Sprig and Rose Rosé. It tastes like red fruit, you know, that cranberry type taste.
Delicious, honey. And thank you again to Bright Cellars because, see, for a limited amount of time, they are offering all of my followers 50% off of your first 6-bottle box of wine. All you have to do is go to the description, click my link below, and get started. Woo! Child. Y'all have been asking for it. Y'all have been waiting for it. So come on in this video and let's discuss a bit of the Jackson family tea. Most of this video will be about the Jackson boys minus Michael Jackson because y'all already know Michael got too much tea to share a video with anyone. But his brothers got a bit of tea of their own, baby. Let's get to it. Now, honey, first, let's start off with Jackie's mess. Now, eldest brother Jackie Jackson has been known by many to be the sexiest Jackson brother. And not only that, many people say that Jackie comes off as a kind, sweet soul. But baby, he's also a hot mess. Now, honey, the folks say that Jackie got with his first wife, Enid Span, when she was 15 and he was 18. They also say that not even a year after Enid and Jackie started dating, Enid actually moved into the Jackson family compound to live with Jackie. After 4 or 5 years of dating, Jackie actually married Enid in 1974, and everybody pretty much suspected that this would be the perfect couple. But honey, Jackie started acting up. I'm talking about pretty much out in the open cheating. Apparently, Jackie expected that if Enid should find out that she would just kind of deal with it. You know, I guess he kind of felt like this is what comes along with being married to a Jackson. But child, I know he must have lost his mind because gossip claims that Enid was not taking any of that. And because of Jackie's cheating ways, he and Enid may have started fighting each other at first. But gossip claims that over time, this became Jackie beating on Enid. Enid put up with Jackie cheating and sometimes beating her as long as she could. But sometime in the 1980s, Jackie Jackson started dating someone that made Enid flip the F out, baby. That woman was Paula Abdul. But child, of folks say it get even juicier than that, honey. One day she followed Jackie to meet Paula Abdul. Let Jackie get in that house with Paula, get all good and comfortable. As soon as she figured that Jackie and Paula was going to town, Enid burst through that doggone door and started whooping up Paula Abdul like Rocky Marciano, baby. Molly whopping. And the whole time, Jackie sitting up there trying to sneak his little afro head out the front door. Baby, they say Enid's eyes turned to Jackie like that. She ran outside with him, jumped in her car, and ran Jackie over, child. Now, some folks say that she hit Jackie. He was rolling all over the car and everything. And then other sources say that the most she did was really just run over his foot. Whatever the case, by the time Enid left, child, Paula and Jackie was sitting up there crying together. The old Hollywood messy streets say that Paula Abdul soon ended up getting pregnant with Jackie Jackson's child. And supposedly this happened in 1984. And said that when Enid found this out, this is when she told Jackie that it's over. Well, according to rumor, Jackie talked Paula into getting an abortion. He went crying back to Enid and telling her, you know, it's over with Paula. You know, she got the abortion. Please take me back, baby. 2 years later in 1986, Enid was sitting up there in the bathroom crying again, honey, because she found out that Jackie was cheating again. And baby, y'all wouldn't believe who it's alleged that he was cheating with this time. Let's just put it like this. The folks say that Jackie Jackson got a piece of that sunshine. And I'm talking about sunshine that was on Harlem Nights. Layla Rashawn. And some sources say Leela Rashawn, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Baby said that Layla Rashawn was an up-and-coming actress. She was not married at the time. I'm not even sure if she knew that Jackie was married at the time. But gossip claims that not only was Jackie cheating with Layla Rashawn, he was also cheating with multiple other women. And the folks say this is finally when Enid had had enough, so she ended up divorcing him that next year in 1987. But honey, the scandal, child. The scandal, because see, gossip claims that Jackie tried to play with Enid when it came to the money that she was asking for, or the money that she felt like she was owed. And so Enid Span went rogue. There is this article that is online where this guy is saying that Enid came up to him and was like, hey, do you want a big story on the Jackson? And she basically told this guy that she could get him any evidence, any information that he wanted. So when the guy asked her, why are you doing this? He said Enid told him that she could deal with Jackie cheating on her all those years, but what she could not deal with was Jackie trying to cut her out of the money. So she pretty much told him that this book would be her kind of getting revenge. Baby, they say that man asked Enid to go and give him what she got. Honey said that Enid went into the Jackson house and brought that man all kind of videos of the Jacksons when they were young and as adults. Brought him all pictures that he needed, personalized items, especially from Michael. Said she brought him letters to Michael from Princess Diana, Elizabeth Taylor, Diana Ross, and more than that. Told all Michael's business, honey. Told this author how Michael just wasn't happy with the face God gave him and how Michael was paying all of this money for surgeons to give him a new face. And my thing is, if you're getting revenge over what Jackie did to you, why is you sitting up there putting all Michael's business out? But anyways, like I said, allegedly Enid gave this author all type of personal information of Michael and the rest of his family. And supposedly when it came time to publish this book, Michael and the rest of his family found out all of the details in the book, so they used every lawyer that they could find to stop the publication of this book. And the author never ratted Enid out. So the Jackson family never knew that it was Enid that was feeding this author all of this information. And I'll leave the link in the description so you guys can go read it for yourself. Now let's move on to Tito Jackson. And Tito does not seem as messy and problematic as some of his other brothers, but it's still some tea. And one little sprinkle happened in 2013. Tito got with some promoter in Detroit, and baby, they sent out all kind of flyers and advertisements and stuff, basically saying that he was doing a talent search. And I suppose he was looking for the next Michael Jackson, because they said this talent search was for children. So of course, all of these parents come with their money paying because they want their baby to be a star. Child, the folks say that the talent show was called This Is It, and baby, that was it. I mean, it. Because the day of the talent show came and there was no Tito, there was no setup, there was no nothing, child. Turns out Tito Jackson had taken the $3,500 that was paid for him to be a judge and to have this talent show, and child, guess skipped town or just never showed up or something. And you just know some of them parents dressed their children up as Michael Jackson. Child, wasn't nothing left but a whole bunch of glittering socks and hurt feelings. But let's move on to this mess, honey. You know the way Michael Jackson did all of those interviews talking about how Joe called him big nose and made him self-conscious of his nose and stuff like that. Well, baby, the folks say that Michael ain't told nobody how he basically done the same thing to Tito. Baby said that when they were teenagers, Michael Jackson used to go in on Tito, joke on him and tell him he was porky and that he was making the rest of the group look bad. Allegedly, it got so bad that Michael Jackson drew some sort of diagram. It restricted Tito to drinking lemon water with honey every morning. Said at lunch, Tito could have a fruit salad or a regular salad, and then at dinner, Tito couldn't have nothing but steamed cabbage. Honey, Michael was so messy that he even drew Tito at the top of the page, child. And thank you very much for that beautiful drawing, Michael. Who's gonna want to lose weight and diet if they gonna end up looking like this right here? A stick man. Outside of teasing Tito about his weight and Tito tricking children, making them believe that they were going to be the next big star, most of the rest of the tea is involving Tito's marriage to Dolores Didi Martez. Didi and Tito married in 1972. Most sources say as soon as they graduated high school. As far as anyone could tell, Tito and Didi had a happy marriage, even producing 3 children. But what most folks don't know is the scandalous tea that says that in 1983, Tito ended up stepping out on his wife. Stepped out so far that he even ended up producing a side child. Honey said that this side child is a daughter named Nay Jackson, and Tito signed this child's birth certificate. Most people think that this situation with his side daughter Tanae and maybe some other stuff that Tito had going on caused the divorce with his wife Dee Dee in 1988. Dee Dee ended up moving on with a man named Donald Bahana. And 8 weeks after she started her new relationship, sadly in 1994, Dee Dee was found drowned at the bottom of her pool. Rumor has it that Tito and his children were devastated over Dee Dee's accident. And soon the times got even tougher because police started to feel like this was not an accident at all, but rather a homicide. In fact, they ended up charging Donald Bahana for murder, and he was convicted. Next on the list is Mr. Motor Oil Duct Tape WD-40 himself, honey. Mr. Jermaine Jackson. It seems to me that Jermaine's eraser head been messy since he was a teenager. Y'all remember I just showed y'all that diagram that Michael allegedly drew for Tito? Well, why come Jermaine felt like he needed to add his 2 cents in and tell Tito, don't F up? Look, it's right there on the paper. And Jermaine, sir, please inform me if Tito did mess up, what was you gonna do about it? What was you gonna do, Jermaine? One thing that Jermaine did do was try to be Michael Jackson before Michael Jackson could be Michael Jackson. Messy insiders say Jermaine started seeing where things were headed with the Jackson 5. He could pretty much see that a solo career was starting to be carved out for Michael Jackson. So allegedly, Jermaine wanted to head this off by going solo first. And he would be the one that was the big successful star of the family. And baby, you know they say that Messy Berry Gordy was in on this scheme too. They say Berry Gordy was instrumental in pushing Jermaine to go solo because Berry Gordy was upset that the Jackson 5 had left his Motown label. Whatever Berry Gordy's intentions were, Jermaine was all for it, and so he did indeed sign a solo contract. And his solo career while with Motown and after Motown was mildly successful. You know, it really didn't do too much, and it definitely paled in comparison to Michael's career once Michael actually did go solo. And baby, they say this ate Jermaine clean up, honey. Said that Jermaine would not wake up a day without talking badly about Michael, and also without saying that Michael's career should have been his. He would say things like, Michael don't deserve all this success, that's supposed to be mine. Like he really thought himself to be more talented than Michael. Now the folks say that Jermaine had released a song called Do What You Do, and the song did numbers. Well, around this time he was working with Clive Davis. After Do What You Do hit it big, Clive felt like he had found Jermaine's sound, so he wanted to hire producers that could recreate that sound over and over for more music. So Clive was like, all right, Jermaine, I'm about to hook you up with Babyface, and baby, y'all are about to release some hits. Well, what Clive and Jermaine didn't know is that Michael had also seen that his brother's song had did some numbers. Baby, the folks say that Michael said that it was no room for 2 Jackson brothers to be worldwide famous. And honey, let me go ahead and put the little David Ruffin picture up, because baby, Michael Jackson got petty, honey. Child, they said that Michael found out that Babyface was about to be working with Jermaine. Michael picked up the phone. Babyface, listen, buddy, I want you to produce a song for me. I can see it now. It's just gonna be glorious, Kenneth. Babyface was like, Michael, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I want to work with you, but right now, you know, I'm about to work with your brother Jermaine. Work with who? Jermaine. Oh, Kenneth, don't toy around. You may as well come on over to the money team. And Babyface ended up coming on over to the money team. And so effectively, Michael had ruined Jermaine's chances at becoming a big superstar by making this wonderful music with Babyface, because he hired Babyface to start producing his songs, and then he tied Babyface up with his project. When Jermaine Jackson found out that Michael Jackson did him this way, he was just like, you know, God, you know, why can't my brother just let me get a little bit of shine? But child, I guess Michael said, hey, you want some shine? You better look at my doggone glove, because baby, you sure ain't getting none for yourself. Well, after Jermaine was sad, baby, Jermaine got mad. And so that's when Jermaine started working on a song called Word to the Bad. And just to be straight up, this was a diss song from Jermaine to Michael Jackson. And gossip claims that in them lyrics, Jermaine ate Michael up. Honey said it had a whole bunch of folks like, ooh, Jermaine, you ain't gonna say that, is you? And the answer was no, Jermaine was not gonna say that. Because Michael Jackson found out that Jermaine was creating this diss song about him, he told Clive that Jermaine could not make that song, and if Jermaine did make that song, heads would roll. It's exactly how Clive's glasses was looking, because as soon as he got off the phone with Michael Jackson, he called Jermaine and told Jermaine, look, you can record your little diss song like you want to, but all of those problematic lyrics that are really, really bad, you need to take them out. Baby said Jermaine was just so doggone disappointed, and what he should have done was just hang the project up. But Jermaine just couldn't let it go, honey, and it became a joke. And when Jermaine pushed to go ahead and get the song released, he became a joke, especially because the public had no idea about the Babyface situation. You know what I'm saying? The public didn't know that Michael had taken Babyface from Jermaine. So to the public, it just looked like Jermaine is just putting out this little soft behind diss song because obviously he's jealous of his brother's success. So the war between Michael Jackson and Jermaine, and apparently there were several other things that happened between these two guys, it always ended badly for Jermaine. And that is messy enough, but baby, when we get to Jermaine's love life, that's on a whole new level of messiness. In 1973, Jermaine ended up marrying Hazel Gordy. The couple appeared very much in love, but the scandalous T says that as soon as Jermaine felt like Berry Gordy's eyes were off of him, that Jermaine started doing the most. He cheated with regular, non-famous women by the dozens, honey, and then sooner or later, he got comfortable cheating with big-name people. And I'm talking about one of the biggest names of all, Miss Whitney Houston. Let Jermaine tell it, Whitney could not get enough of him, and she would be begging, almost crying for Jermaine to come and be with her, like begging for the stuff. Per rumor, Jermaine was doing an interview with a journalist, and Jermaine basically said, you know, it's a shame about Whitney, you know, she hooked on those drugs, and then he went on to say that maybe I should start messing with her again, you know, because if I started messing with Whitney again, baby, she wouldn't be hooked on no drugs. Only thing she'll be hooked on is Big Jermaine. Said Jermaine said Whitney was begging him to marry her and everything. As a matter of fact, gossip claims that Jermaine used to brag that he could basically steal Whitney from Bobby Brown if he wanted to. And this rumor is said to be true. Gossip claims that Whitney Houston's song, Saving All My Love For You, was about Jermaine Jackson. And she was saving her love for the day that he divorced his wife, Hazel Gordy. And the folks say that Jermaine toyed around with Whitney for a little while, and then finally he told her, like, for certain, hey, I'm not leaving Hazel. Like, I'm not leaving my wife for you. So that is when he and Whitney supposedly split apart. After Whitney, Jermaine got into an even deeper side chick relationship with a lady by the name of Margaret Maldonado. She was 21 years old, fresh out of a drug rehab, when Jermaine came smooth walking up to her in a restaurant. He was very flirtatious and very charismatic, and by the time he left her table, he had her number. Jermaine and Margaret quickly became sexual, and as far as Margaret knew, she thought she and Jermaine were going to be together because she didn't even know Jermaine Jackson was married. After Margaret pushed the issue a little bit, that is when Jermaine told her that he couldn't marry her yet because he was already married. But don't worry, he was getting ready to leave his wife. Margaret said that she was way too deeply in love with Jermaine to leave him alone, you know, so her and Hazel was just gonna have to share him for a little while. There was so much sharing going on that soon Margaret found out she was pregnant. Well, what Margaret had to understand is that sharing is caring, and Jermaine still cared very much for Hazel's TT. He cared for it so much that Hazel was also pregnant. Wife Hazel and side chick Margaret allegedly were pregnant at the very same time. Then, to kill out Margaret even more, the folks say that on Christmas Day, she ended up going into the hospital to have her baby. And Jermaine walked in the room with Hot Cocoa singing Christmas carols. Not the hospital room, his living room. Living room at home with Hazel and his other children. That's right. Margaret was in the hospital all alone giving birth to her baby, while Jermaine was at home with Hazel and their children celebrating Christmas. Despite this humiliation, Margaret continued being Jermaine's side piece. And then after about a year or two, Hazel Gordy ended up finding out. And she found out because Jermaine told her. And Jermaine told her because Jermaine had a scheme up his sleeve. You see, Jermaine had it worked out in his mind that he wanted to keep Margaret on the side, but he didn't want to have to raise a child with her. Like, you know what I'm saying? I guess that took away from his fun experience of his side piece. I don't know. But whatever the case, he made up a plan to make a way for Hazel to raise his side baby. That is when he came in and was like, you know, Hazel, I'm so sorry, but I need to get this off my chest. I have to let you know that I messed up, Hazel. You know, I cheated on you. I ended up getting a woman pregnant, and this woman had my child. He tells Hazel that the child is now near 2 years old and that the child's mother just doesn't want to raise the baby anymore. And so he tells Hazel, I know it's asking a lot, but please let me take this baby in and we raise this child together like this child is ours. Hazel is hurt. She is in disbelief, but she forgives her husband and she wants to be there for her husband. And so she tells him, that's fine, Jermaine. Well, the folks say that Margaret doesn't know anything about this scheme of Jermaine trying to take her child. She has no idea. And then the day comes when Jermaine actually tries to put his plan into motion. He goes to visit Margaret and his son, and he tells Margaret, you know, I think I need to spend the day with my son alone. You know, we need to do some father-son bonding. And so Margaret is like, okay, cool. You know, go get some bonding time with your son. Baby said Jermaine took the child straight to Hazel. And so when Hazel gets the child, she just feels like we're about to raise this child. Well, Margaret is at home and she is just waiting and waiting for Jermaine to bring her child back. And finally, when the day is pretty much over, Margaret is frantic. And this is when she ends up calling the house and Hazel picks up the phone. Margaret tells Hazel everything, how she has been Jermaine's side chick, how Jermaine has been telling her that he's going to leave Hazel, and the more that Hazel hears, the madder she becomes. Some rumors say that by the time the conversation was over, Hazel Gordy made up her mind that she was done with Jermaine, and she did divorce Jermaine in the year of 1988. And now Jermaine could finally marry Margaret. Margaret finally had her chance at becoming Jermaine's wife. Too bad he skipped right on over her behind and dated several women while continually keeping her as a side chick. They even ended up having another child together. And baby, the folks say that one of the women that was in Jermaine's lineup was the very beautiful actress Sally Richardson. Jermaine loved multiple beautiful women, even if those beautiful women were dating members of his family. Now baby, listen at this. The folks say that in the 1990s, Jermaine's brother Randy was dating a woman named Alejandra. In fact, Randy and Alejandra had actually been dating since 1986 and they had 3 children together. Well, this whole time from 1986 to the 1990s, Alejandra had been sitting back tapping her finger waiting for a doggone ring. After all of her time loving these children and everything, she deserved to be a Jackson. Well, anyways, one day in the mid-90s, Randy had to leave the house to go on a business trip. And while Randy was gone, Jermaine was just like, you know what? I need to go check on my nieces and nephews. I need to go see Randy's kids. Honey, Jermaine got in that doggone house, started talking to the children, seeing if they was all right. Then he started talking to Alejandra. Baby, the folks say that Jermaine called Alejandra beautiful one too many times, and next thing you know, they pushed the kids on into the living room, honey, went to the back and got it on. And it was terrible, honey. The folks say that Randy came home from his business trip and child was looking through the house windows just like this. His stuff and him was replaced by Jermaine. And the folks say that Jermaine had no feelings at all about what his brother Randy was going through. And then he even stumped it in Randy's face even more when he ended up marrying Alejandra and having 3 children by her. But the he was on Alejandra because gossip claims that by the time Jermaine and Alejandra got married, Jermaine had already started talking to his other woman. And this woman's name was LaWanda. And when I tell you Jermaine was operating these relationships side by side, baby, I mean what I say. Because Jermaine and Alejandra were said to have been married in 1996. Well, guess who else supposedly got married in 1996? LaWanda and Jermaine. Baby, had a full ceremony and everything in a local mosque. And if you're wondering like just how the heck was this possible, gossip claims it was because LaWanda already knew about Jermaine and Alejandra. She didn't mind that. But what she did mind was the fact that Jermaine married Alejandra and he had not married her. So gossip claims that LaWanda told him that if you don't make me your second wife, like if you don't marry me, I'm going to leave you. Unfortunately for LaWanda, this marriage was not at all legal. Jermaine had let this woman put on a show. You know, they walking down the aisle. She got on her wedding dress and all this mess. And child, that man ain't filled out no doggone papers to marry this woman. In fact, he couldn't because that would be bigamy. But in LaWanda's eyes, they were married. Well, anyways, Jermaine maintained his 2 lives and he did well keeping LaWanda a secret from Alejandra. But honey, not well enough. The messy tea on the street says that Alejandra and Jermaine were 1 year celebrating their wedding anniversary. He said that LaWanda showed up out of nowhere at their house, burst through the door and was like, "That's my husband too. Jermaine, it's my husband too." Baby said Alejandra was like, and then she was like, because LaWanda came and punched her square in the jaw, allegedly. Don't ask me what happened immediately after that. I don't know, but what I do know is that soon Alejandra and LaWanda were old news for Jermaine. In either 2003 or 2004, he stopped by a Starbucks and he found his new spice. Her name was Halima Rashid. They married in 2004, and allegedly Jermaine did Halima so bad that 11 years later, the woman was down on all fours chasing Jermaine around the house, biting chunks out of his thighs, his calves, and his ankles. Jermaine had her arrested, and then not even a year later, he and Halima divorced. Now we're gonna touch on some of Randy Jackson's little messy behind tea. Y'all already know what happened with Alejandra and Jermaine, so I'm not gonna touch on that again, but baby, let's talk about his relationship of 1983. Because see, in 1983, Randy was dating a woman named Bernadette Robbie. But baby, folks didn't know if Bernadette was Randy's girlfriend or his doggone prisoner, because the folks say that Randy controlled every aspect of that woman's life. Well, it's alleged one day in the 1980s, Bernadette finally stood up for herself, and she told Randy that she was tired of his domineering ways, and gossip claims Randy responded by busting Bernadette upside the head. Bernadette got up and she told him this is it, and she headed to Tina Turner's house. Now, most sources say that Bernadette was going to Tina's house, for wisdom, for guidance from an older woman. And it's also said that while Bernadette was at Tina's house, that Tina was telling her, hey, you have to leave Randy alone. You have another Ike Turner on your hands, and if you don't leave him, it's going to be bad for you. Well, in the middle of their talking, Randy shows up at Tina's house and starts banging on the door, telling Bernadette to come outside and talk to him. Give him another chance. He'll never hit her again. Bernadette, just come back to me. When Bernadette does not answer him, and instead Tina basically yells, hey, get out of here. She don't want you no more. It's over with. This is when Randy supposedly got upset. So he goes back to the front door and he picks up a flower pot and he throws it up against the front door, and the pot shatters everywhere. When the door still didn't open, this is said to be the time that Randy actually kicked in Tina Turner's door. And when he did, he was looking down the barrel of a gun. Baby, that stopped him right dead in his track. But instead of just stopping and leaving, Randy starts pacing, and so Tina tells him, Randy, you better stop and you better freeze, or I'm gonna blow your head off. Where Bernadette at? Where Bernadette at? Randy just kept getting more aggressive, and that's when Tina put the gun up and said, pow, shot through the ceiling, and was like, I'm not playing, Randy. It's gonna be brains and Jerry curl juice everywhere. But Randy would not leave, and he kind of trying to build himself up to do something, but Tina doesn't know exactly what it is until Randy Jackson starts to charge at Tina Turner. Baby, they said Tina Turner let loose, child. Just pop, 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 pop. Randy tried to sit up there and turn around and run off. Baby, they said she shot Randy in the behind. Booty cheek was on fire, baby. He forgot all about Bernadette, child, and got the H up out of there. This is the first version of the story. But in the second version of the story, things are a little bit different. It is said that he shows up at Tina Turner's house and he's beating on the door asking for Bernadette and all of that good stuff. But you know how in the first version, it's claimed that Tina was like, no, Randy, Bernadette is not going to go back with you. Get out of here. And that's why Randy got mad. That was the first version. Honey, the second version, the hot, scandalous, messy version, says that Randy went around the house and peeked through a window and saw Tina dipping it low and doing the crunchy munchy on Bernadette, honey. But gossip claims that that is the real reason that Randy got upset and went back to the front door and started throwing flower pots and wanting to bust into the door and everything like that, because he saw that Bernadette and Tina had this sexual relationship going on. But baby, let me tell you something. There is a hot mess to be had, honey, a hot mess to be had. Because listen at this little bit of extra right here. A lot of people wonder just how Bernadette and Tina were so close. Like, why was this the case? Well, some sources say that Bernadette was cool with Tina's son Craig, but other sources say that in the late 70s and very early 80s, Bernadette was actually messing around with Craig. And honey, you know what that means. Mama Tina and son Craig had some things in common. Honey, listen, I'm not the one who writes the rumors. I just tell you the rumors. But baby, I'm not finna fool with y'all. I will say Randy got married. His wife's name was Eliza Shaffy. Randy was so doggone messy with it that he and Eliza's daughter, Stevana, was actually born in between the two children that he had with Alejandra. Baby, let me tell you something. It ain't enough childs in the world for this doggone family. But get this though, Randy was possibly the craziest brother of all. Because honey, he was also beating on his wife Eliza. And then took 7-month-old Stevana, their daughter, and bust her upside the head too. But the folks say that Randy actually really did have mental problems. I don't know if he has them now, but he really did have mental problems. Like he actually spent time in a mental home. Honey, I don't know. All I know is that in 1992, gossip claims that Eliza got tired of Randy and all these mental problems and busting her and her baby upside the head. And so she ended up divorcing him. Now listen, I know Marlon is a Jackson brother. I do not have any of his tea in this video, so that means we have made it to the end of this video. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please click like and subscribe. I will be back soon with another video. Bye guys.